So I was blindly following the money, not thinking about the consequence, not thinking about my actions of what I was doing. I didn't think about any of that stuff till I got caught.
When did you realize that you wanted to change your life?
I always wanted to, I just didn't know how. I always knew I was supposed to be on TV, on the big stage, do big things in life. But I'm like, how are these people doing this? And ever so often somebody would present me a book, which I thought was the stupidest thing in the world because I didn't read books and I didn't understand the power of actually learning because I cheated my way through high school. And it wasn't until, because everything just came by accidental purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say when I was 18 years old, before I went to prison, this fashion show director, because I used to do modeling, I used to do runway with LA models. Fashion show director named Shannon Davidson gave me a book for my 18th birthday.
Wait, how did you end up doing fashion shows in LA? Because that seems like it's even if the company that you're hanging out with are doing bad things, it still seems like a step in the right direction, a step away from Missouri City and the worst part of Texas.
Yeah, because we're kind of jumping around because I didn't go to prison until 21. So at 18, somebody told me I should model. And so I just went to go for an audition and I got rejected and I didn't like getting rejected. So I went to another modeling agency and I got rejected maybe 9 times. And then finally I got picked up by Wilhelmina, and then I was with Runway with LA Models.
What's Wilhelmina?
Wilhelmina is one of the top modeling agencies in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, and so is LA Models. But I was with LA Models for Runway, and I was with Wilhelmina for print and commercial. And so when I joined that, I was reading this book. So let me backtrack. Shannon Davidson gave me a book called The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. So I'm reading and reading and reading and reading and reading. It's the first book I've ever read from cover to cover, something about it. And I wasn't even reading it because it was a personal growth book. I was reading it because I was a special education student with a learning disability, and I had issues with speaking. I had a speech impediment, and I used to talk like this. And I was in the slow classes. But I was so, when people would use big words and they would speak fast and they would articulate really well, I would clam up in a shell. And one day I got so frustrated that I took it out on the book. So I went inside of this book. This is Joe Polish's book. I went inside the Power of Positive Thinking and I started over enunciating. I was reading like this. Understanding this can go a long way when it comes to building rapport with. And I was just elongating my words. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was just frustrated. And something told me to do that. By the time I was done reading that book, I was talking like I'm talking right now, which is a way I'd never heard myself. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Simultaneously, I'm reading a book called The Power of Positive Thinking. Yeah. So all of these good things started happening in my life. That's when the modeling agency came in. That's when I was attracting all these celebrities that wanted to like be in my sphere. And I'm like, yo, why is all this stuff happening? But I couldn't associate that with books that I was reading. And I was just like, yeah, I'm really lucky. I pray every day. I'm meditating. But all of this was coming from the book. So this was an unawareness. You can't change what you're not aware of. So I'm getting these results. I'm modeling for L'Oreal, Destiny's Child, jumping video. I'm on Old Navy, Tommy Hilfiger. I'm on these commercials. All this stuff is happening. I'm in the height of my career. I stopped reading the book. My ego, my pride, I knew I was the shit. People were telling me how good I was looking, and I was letting those words feed into my psyche, and I stopped reading the book. I didn't know that leaders are learners and that you should keep reading. So when I stopped reading, then the weeds of my past, the weeds came and overtook my mental garden and brought me right back into the state I was before I started reading, which was negative, cynical, gossipy, prideful, all those things. And just as fast as I got it, I lost it. I'm chasing a girl in Europe. And all of a sudden, I find my way, even while having billboards and music videos, but no money was coming in because they wasn't paying on the spot.
Yeah.
I find my way doing a job for quick cash.
To get a free copy of the 12-step guide that I created for you, click on the link in the description below.
And that ended up doing some smuggling drugs from one country to another. I did that route 7 times. They paid me 4,000 pounds every time I did the route. And each pound at that time was 2.3 US dollars. So it was almost $9,000 7 times within 2 months. I'd never saw that fast cash. It was like Bitcoin before Bitcoin was even here.
Right.
So that, and on the 8th time, I got caught.
Whew.
6.2 kilos of heroin, the most anti-drug person you will ever meet. Never had a sip of alcohol, not even until this day. That was busted for drugs, that was associated with the mafia. Who I was working for was working for someone else who was working for the big person. And I became the person that took the rap for it all because I wasn't going to snitch on that and have all of that threaten my family. So I took it, and I was on the front page of the newspapers as the member of the American Connection. It was so wild. I'm like, I had it all, and I lost it all because of my selfishness.
You were working the front lines. That was like the most risky position. And how did you feel about that personally, that you were smuggling drugs from, across the border?
Here's the thing. When you focus on something so much, it blocks you and blinds you from everything else. It's like when your president that you vote for can do no wrong, and they've done a lot of wrong, you'll like almost excuse the actual wrong things. Be like, no, I'm voting all this color. Everybody on here is all doing right. And I'm like, yo, this is the stupidest thing that you can do without actually understanding. It's like blind choosing. So I did the same thing with, okay, I'm just going to drive this car because no one ever said what it was. I just knew that it was doing something bad.
Yeah. You knew, but you didn't want to ask any questions.
And all I was doing was focused on the money. So I was blindly following the money, not thinking about the consequence, not thinking about my actions of what I was doing. I didn't think about any of that stuff till I got caught. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you were just thinking about the upside. You weren't thinking about the downside. Like Dr. Alan Barnard says, you want to do things that have high upside with little to no downside, little to no risk. What you were doing was obviously risk, and the consequences of the risk were pretty big, pretty massive. But the one thing that I think of is you stopped reading the power of positive thinking. You stopped on that path. And it's just like fitness, spiritual fitness, positive thinking. It's like any kind of fitness. If you stop going to the gym, if you stop working out, if I stop working out, if I stop running, biking, if I stop doing yoga, if I stop doing all the things that I'm going to lose it. Like people think that, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get in shape. And then once I'm in shape for the rest of my life. No, that's not everybody knows that's the stupidest thing. That doesn't happen. You're not physically fit for the rest of your life. You have to continue. And if you don't continue, then you end up back where you were. And that's what.
Yeah, listen, that is because I now know people treat change like it's a diet and not a lifestyle.
Right.
And so I just kind of went back to the same behaviors that I was doing before. Well, life is not happening to you, it's responding to you.
If you got value from this video, if you heard what you needed to hear, be sure to like it. Comment if you've got a question or you have something to say. Subscribe to the channel. Camelback Recovery provides treatment services for people struggling with mental health, mental illness, addiction, alcoholism, whatever it may be. So if you or a loved one is struggling, and you need some guidance and you need some direction, reach out to us. Our contact information is down below, or you can go to our website, camelbackrecovery.com, whether it be detox, inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, sober living, recovery coaching, sober companion services, whatever it may be. Like I said, we can either help you or make sure that you get sent in the right direction. We help people all over the country, all over the world for that matter. I'll see you on the next video.